Meeting, no?
Here as a city, what are we gonna be?
No one's gonna shut it off.
I think we're up.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting to order for noon Wednesday, June 12th. Approval of the last March 13th, 2024 minutes. Somebody want to approve those for us?
Make a motion to approve as written.
Second?
Minutes approved. We'll move on to update on the additional bus that we received. The new gas power bus arrived, and the city's portion of the new bus was $17,415. That was paid already. Seems like people really like the new bus. It's quieter, obviously, and we keep getting asked, is this the electric bus? So it is not the electric bus. We are going to keep our old bus for a backup to this new bus, just for reasons of servicing and different things. So we will be holding on to 2 Herman Express buses. Any discussion about the new bus?
The 17,000 was paid by the city?
By the city, yep. It came in a little bit higher because the state and federal portion, because the price had gone up so much, it was a little bit more than the 10%, plus some of the options that we had asked for got changed, so then the price got reflected a little bit different. So, that was the reason, so.
And we've got storage for the saved bus or the,
No, that was my question.
Yeah, so yeah, we're selling 2 buses. We went to board a couple weeks ago, and we'll be selling 2 of our Heartland buses because another new bus just arrived yesterday. So we're now at capacity with the number of buses we need. So by selling 2 of our Heartland buses, the garage space we have is working out.
we talked about keeping a bus for Heartland.
We'll actually have 2 backup buses
Backups.
and one for
then,
Herman.
Herman will have a backup.
Yep.
We'll have 3 backups.
Yep. Yeah, we've always, in the past, before Herman, we used to have 3 backup buses. Then we had an accident with one of them, so we went down to 2 and kind of realized that we could stick with 2, but then COVID hit, and we really could have had 3 at that point. But 2 is a good number, we feel, and then 1 for Herman, so.
Sounds good.
Okay, then we'll move on to the expenses for the Herman Express bus operations. Came into $5,148.06, which has already also been paid by the city. As you recall, you had 3 months of free service, so that amount would have been reduced probably by, I figure, another $1,500, $2,000. So I know you said you had budgeted about $20,000 a year for the Herman, so I think that's a pretty decent number, and we're going to be at a 5% match again for 24 and 25. So hopefully we'll get a little closer to that. So the city portion is just a little bit less than the 5,000 in the future, but I didn't think that was just too bad for the service that you're getting and the ridership we've been seeing. Sarah will share that when she comes in.
I mean, if we stay around there, I'm perfectly fine with, this amount for a service that the citizens need. This is a small drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Nate and I actually drove it last week, and I was just shocked at how many people got on and were just so appreciative of the service. I mean, it's just something I think if you have a vehicle, you don't really realize how important that is for people. The nice thing is that it's just a hop-on service. You don't need to make a plan, If you run out of a gallon of milk, it's easy enough to hop on the bus and go get that. So it seems like people are really, really appreciative, so.
And I feel like when the program expands, when we get the electric buses on, and we potentially have 2 half-hour loops instead of 1 hour, I think ridership would increase as well. Because it's not an hour of your day; it's just hop on, hop off. So
Exactly.
again, I think this is a good program, good use of funding for this as well.
I agree. Any more discussion? And if you guys would ever like to see a more detailed breakdown, I think, we can provide that at any point. Because what we do is all of the expenses for the Herman bus get divided equally amongst the number of vehicles is the formula we have
Okay.
worked out. So if there's ever anybody that needs to see that, make sure to let us know and we can get that to you.
Perfect. I'm sure during audit, when we get audited, we'll probably need to see something like that, but our audit just finished, so
Okay.
we're good for this time.
Right.
So,
Okay, no problem. And then I'm going to skip over to 3.5 for the possible use of the former Enterprise East building for bus storage. Again, that's possible. We've got someone, a architect hired through AECom, who's they're the project liaison for this. And maybe Scott, can you just talk a little bit about the discussions you guys have been having about that building and how that might work out?
Yeah, there isn't too much I can tell you at this point. Right now, excuse me, in the process of Nicollet County is disbanding from our community health, and when they do, that building will be, well, we got to figure out if the county is going to buy the building or not, or what'll happen there, and how much they would be willing to sell it for. It's not the building is a really good building. There were no levy dollars involved in the purchase of that from either Brown County or Nicollet County at the time of possession when we got it years ago. And so we're hoping that Nicollet County would be willing to let us continue to house Enterprise North in that building. And the back side of the building is considerable amounts of room that would be great for bus maintenance, storage, operations, everything there. There would be some work that would have to be done, but it's very minor and comparatively to a lot of places.
Right.
So hopefully, we can take a look at that and see what might be able to transpire there.
Yeah, so we did have an architect come out and look at it, and he has some drawings that were included in the meeting minutes. And one of them that's actually kind of exciting to me is if we don't get something worked out, before the electric buses, the one plan he has where the garage door is on the side that faces J&R Schugel, there's a garage door there.
Correct.
And he said even if we could just rent that space for the 2 electric buses, he measured the buses and the panel that brings the electric into the building. He said it wouldn't take a whole lot to get it to that point. So even if that's not a long-term solution for us, we could possibly just lease that from Nicollet Brown County, but he also has plans in here, if you look a little bit further, about how buses could be stored in the warehouse part right now where I think there's a trucking company in there that uses that part. And I don't know if it's a long-term lease or.
I don't believe it is.
Yeah.
There's an area that a trucking firm uses as a loading dock, transferring goods. There's also an area that's not being used at all.
Right.
Used at all.
Yeah.
And so, it's got real possibilities. I know one of the main factors was that with MRCI and Enterprise North, mainly MRCI, they had to make sure there were no fumes. Commissioner Borkert had talked to someone, and they were in the past wanting to make sure that they didn't have any exhaust fumes in it or whatever. Well, initially with if we, even before we get anything done, the electric buses
They wouldn't create
would
that.
be clean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of good things going there. So I think
Right,
that'll
right.
hopefully work out. So.
So I think, that at least that kind of eases my mind about, we were asking the city, do you have some place to store these buses? So at least this kind of gives us a solution to that.
When are the electrics planned? Have we heard? any
Yeah, still
update?
not even ordered. We're still working with the consultant on it. It's a slow process anytime you got federal dollars involved and a lot of the manufacturers that were making these buses have gone out of business. So that's going to be probably another issue, to be honest with you, because Ford Lightning, it's called Lightning, was a big player, and they just folded. They just said, we can't make a go of it. There's another company called Endura, and they're still in the game. It seems like they're kind of a player in the game. When we got our new bus on Monday, I asked the salesman, he's going down to a large convention in Florida. He left yesterday and be gone till Thursday. I did ask him to see if he could find some electric bus manufacturers because right now they were the dealer for Lightning, and when Lightning went out of business, they don't have a bus in the game right now. So he's going to be doing some work to try and get them to be a player in the game, because right now this Endura is the only one I'm aware of. But
And that's too bad, because like with Ford Lightning, at least we'd had service areas and, dedicated, longer term. We buy a bus now and
Right.
it's Endure or whoever, and, they're brand new.
right, yeah, you want to make sure that they're going to be in for the long haul. And
Somehow we gotta be able to service them.
right. The Ford dealer here in town did tell me that they do have techs that are able to work on, as long as it's a Ford, chassis, which the Endura is on a Ford chassis. So, the other option she gave me was a Mercedes-Benz and I think a Chrysler. And I'm like, well, we don't have any dealer around here, so I and those were a smaller bus too. They're kind of like a Ford Transit size. So they really wouldn't work for what we need. I'm really kind of hoping we kind of stick with what we have, the Ford E450 with the electric motor. So more to come on that. I did find out, though, this is really interesting, I thought anyways, that in order to heat an electric bus in Minnesota, you need to have a diesel motor to run the heat. So even though it's a clean vehicle, you still need a small electric or diesel motor to operate, which isn't a problem because we have diesel up at the highway department. So it wouldn't need the DEF, though. I did ask that. So
And maybe that's what we're bound to do, is to move into this piece by piece
Right.
instead of jumping in both feet first.
right,
I
exactly.
don't know, maybe it'll be all right.
And a couple other transit systems up in Morris and in Arrowhead Transit just getting electric buses that they ordered 4 years ago. So I think we'll let them be guinea pigs too for us for a while, see how it goes. Because the large electric buses have been going for a number of years up in Duluth. They have quite a few up there. So
Well, that's a good place to test it.
good place to, they found a lot of things that they had to change after they got electric buses up there. So more to come on that, and I'll keep you guys as involved as I can with that. I see that Sarah's joined the meeting, so do you want to give some update on some numbers and?
Sure. So since our last meeting, and one of the questions you guys had was, what's our ridership from January now to mid-June? And I got it totaled up, and we have 2,378 rides we've given as of yesterday. And that's actually, when I compared it to last year's, that's actually about 600 more rides than what we had given at this time last year. So the ridership has increased, which is great. Just to touch on, as far as the new bus, the 359, that's really been well-received. People are enjoying riding in a new-smelling vehicle and, comfortable seats and not all the rumbles that you get with some of the older, more mileage buses. So a lot of positive feedback on that. Just with the downtown happenings coming up, the new car and bike rolling, and the crazy days and spiking in the street, there are going to be some downtown one-stop days where we're just going to have to drop that stop. But I did talk, the car and bike rolling should not be an issue. I did talk to the people at Chamber, and they said, it starts at 4:30. It would be our last loop. They'll let us through. just in case there might be somebody to drop off. So I appreciate that the chamber is keeping us in the loop, as far as events coming up, and we can get the word out to our riders so they can plan accordingly. I think you already probably mentioned the software that we've been,
No, we haven't. We haven't
Okay.
gotten to that because I seen that was
Oh.
on your part, so.
anyway, we've been meeting with the consultant and looking at some other software that would run our fixed route better and easier, more driver-friendly, and probably even rider-friendly in the future. So we've had a couple meetings. We've got another one today, right? No, not today.
Today, coming
Next
up.
week? Yeah, it's the Zoom meeting, so we're learning a lot about that. And then I just wanted to share with you a couple other things. If you remember, has it been a month already, the vehicle fair that was down at Jefferson? Really interesting today because one of the families that I happened to meet that evening talked about Heartland Herman. Well, today they rode Herman, just to get an idea as far as where the bus can go, where my kids can go, and just a real positive feedback from them, and to have us down at that vehicle fair. So that was very valuable, I thought, and I hope we can continue to do that. And then this was, a month ago for sure, but we had an out-of-town guest, and she was staying at Microtel. She needed to get from there out to Spexus to pick up one of their cement trucks to then transport it to Ohio. Well, she called Heartland, and of course, the same day, sorry, we can't get you in, but they're like, take Herman, just go over to Hy-Vee. And sure enough, she figured it out, found what she needed to, and then we were able to get her out there and move on to her next destination. So I just thought it was cool that even the out-of-towners are figuring it out too, how to make use of us. So I hope that answers some of your questions, that as far as where we're at and how things have been going for Herman.
Sarah, I got a question here. The
Yeah.
software you're talking about, so it would be better for the drivers and riders. What does it do exactly? Is it picking up patterns or routes, or how?
I don't know if it would, well, I suppose it eventually, when we look at the reports, it would be able to show us a little bit better where we're tracking, because right now, like, we might pick up somebody in between stops, and hopefully we can actually pinpoint that better. Hey, this is a spot that maybe we got to consider in the future having another, actual stop there, depending on how many riders get on. And just right now, it's really, if I can say, clumsy for us as drivers. We're hitting that tablet like 4 times, but if we actually picked up somebody at the last stop, we have to hit it 8 times before we can actually get it to do what we want it to and get the ridership in. So we're hoping to, make it more of a plus, minus, and be more specific where we're dropping and picking people up.
And our stops are really stable now as far as where we haven't made big changes there for.
No,
time.
no, we haven't had any changes. And even still, we have individuals that ask, hey, can you drop us off at Aldi? It's right on the way. So, yep, you bet, we can do that. And, that roundabout, we were concerned about the roundabout and the construction, how that might, but so far, it's been okay. I mean, we haven't gotten way behind because of it. So hopefully that continues. I don't know, maybe as they start bringing in more trucks to do stuff, but,
It's pretty heavy traffic through there right now.
oh, yeah, definitely.
Crossing
And certain
29
times of
is probably
days.
the most difficult part when you
Yes.
leave like Orchard Hill there. is-
You would know that. Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest thing there. So one of the things that we'll be bringing aboard next week from Tuesday is applying for a grant for new routing software. Because right now for Route Match, which we're using, the price went up. They doubled the price 2 years ago. And we don't feel like we're getting our dollars worth. And in visiting with the other companies that we've been visiting with, the price will probably be cut in half or more. So And we'll be able to get more for what because right now with Route Match, we kind of just we could have added on to do what we needed to do, but it would have been another like $10,000 to do that. And we just didn't feel like that was dollars well spent, especially when we would be looking at something different. So
So you're talking about applying for a grant from the state of Minnesota
to cover a new
for
routing
Herman
software,
or
for covering, just for
both?
covering routing software for
Routing software,
both, for both. So, then they would cover 80% of the cost of that. So, and yeah, so, yeah, a bunch of the transit agencies are looking to change because of the cost that they went up in 1 year, and we all don't feel like we're getting our money's worth. So, but one of the interesting ones yesterday that we talked to, instead of doing like the card where they takes off like a dollar amount, the driver would have a phone, and then they'd have like a QR code. Isn't that what he kind of talked about? And then it takes off the rider, that it just takes, so they buy like a dollar, like let's say they spend $20. And then when they get on, they just show you this QR code. Then we would tap that QR code and it would just take that off. So that's, so, because I know we don't want to have a card reader because there's those transaction fees, and then we'd have to charge the passenger for that. So we really don't want to get into having a card reader unless we're really forced to do that, because, that extra transaction fee, like, every time you do a Discover card, you pay it, the retailer pays that. And the county or city is not going to want to have to pay that. So the rider would end up paying that. So I was kind of interested in that. Something like that there's no transaction fee with that because it's just a transaction between the phone and it's just taking dollars off of their account. So more to come on that too. I think we have one more to go through. We've sat through 2 of them so far. What we've done is we'll go to other transit agencies that have these routing softwares, listen to what they have to say about it. So, it's been interesting. So, any other discussion? Has the city had any calls or any feedback? Okay,
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I hear nothing.
nothing.
Looks
No news is good news, right?
Exactly. Keep it up.
I know last Saturday Herman had 17 passengers, so that was really good for a Saturday. So, but then we have days like yesterday where we had less than 10. So it's a crapshoot. You just can't, you cannot, beautiful sunny day and no one rides the bus, a rainy day and everyone gets on the bus. So it just, but.
I was at a collaborative meeting between South Country Health Alliance and Newell Medical Center, Brown County Human Services and Public Health, and Newell Medical Center had been talking about just some of their struggles with transportation, and I was wanting to clarify and saying, well, tell me about your interactions with Heartland or with Herman Express, and they said we have no problems with them, and they've been very responsive and even understanding that we might have something that comes up, and they're trying to be very accommodating, understanding that there's some things that you just can't foresee, but that they're very appreciative of having this resource. I think what they're struggling with is those out of county types of transports as well, and so. But the feedback from the medical center was that it's just been a benefit to the people that access those services for sure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I know one of the route changes we did make, and I think we've talked about that before, where we come down 5th after we go to Sunset Stop, we go down 5th North and can make a loop through the clinic again, and the Linderhoff Hillside folks can get on at that point to get like out to Walmart. So their ride is kind of shortened by doing that. So we were going up to where the roundabout is now. I'm not sure. I don't think we'll go back to that. I think we'll just stay on go down 5th North and go across that way because it's, we're going by people that I think would benefit more because there's really nobody up on Highland that would, at the high school there that, would be riding the bus that often. So, is there any other discussion? Do we want to set our next meeting for December, or did you want to do a 3-month meeting? I guess, I was thinking we were doing 6 months, but, if we think we need to meet sooner, suppose that'd be September then, huh?
I mean, I'm fine setting it in December, and if we need to call a meeting prior to that, we can call a meeting prior to that.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
There's no major actions right now needed.
We're not gonna be in the bus in between there or anything.
No, I think we're done with that for a
That'd be a
while.
miracle, I think, is what I'm understanding, if that were to happen.
There is, just throw this out there, and like you said, we could certainly have a meeting called, South Country Health has had a good couple years here, and we're looking at some community reinvestment grants that'll be becoming available, and I'm sure you're, Annie, already aware of them. And then the county will also be receiving some of the capital back that has been invested. So, but that might be the only thing I would think of that could possibly come up, something of that order that
Yep. Depending on
might
how we
require
choose to.
us to.
Or the meeting with Nicollet County, and if you guys
Yeah,
have some
and
sort of
that
discussion
could-
with the
that could
enterprise
easily
thing, because
come up. There'd be a real more possibility of that probably, so.
we need to call something, we could just do that, Scott.
Yep,
Okay.
sounds good.
So I have either December 11th or 18th. I'm not sure if anyone has a calendar that's ready for that at this point, but 18th is getting a little close to Christmas, but. The noon time seems to work best. That way Sarah can always be here for it, so.
December 18th, or what was the other?
Yeah,
11th.
11th.
The 11th.
The 11th would be a safe bet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then we'll have a EMC annual conference in Bloomington.
then we can do 18.
18th is good.
18th.
Okay. So hearing no more business, meeting adjourned. Do I need a first and a second?
First to adjourn.
Second.
Perfect. Thank you.